welcome. This is an informational video about my upcoming study abroad trip to the United Kingdom. In particular, we're going to England and Scotland. So this video is going to go through a whole bunch of things. First, this is definitely an opportunity of a lifetime. The course you would be taking by going on this trip would be College Mathematics, MGF 1106. It's a 3-credit-hour course. It's a Gordon Rule class, and this could count as your math credit. Not every major requires MGF 1106 as a part of their curriculum. So if you don't need this course, you can still take it as an elective, but this definitely could check a box on your list of things to do while in college. We have a couple pictures. This trip did run last year, so we've got some of our students from last year here. We'll see Big Ben. She's under construction right now, so we'll only see one of the faces. And then the tartan weaving mill that we'll go to. The cost, this is usually one of the first things people want to know about. The whole cost of the trip is $3,600 plus the cost of the course, which for most people, if you're a Florida resident, is about $309. But there's a lot of ways to bring that down. The first one is an automatic Valencia scholarship that gets applied if you meet the criteria for the trip. So the scholarship is $1,300, which is incredible. It comes from student development. If you apply by the application deadline, if you're 18 years old by the time of travel, you meet the course requirements, which in this case are none. You're a degree-seeking student with Valencia College. You've done 1 semester within the last year. You have 12 college-level credits by the time of travel. These could be from Valencia or another institution. You have a GPA of 2.5 at the application deadline, and you have not received the scholarship in the current academic year, then it's automatic. That money is just deducted from the cost of the trip. No essay or anything like that required. That scholarship happens automatically, but I've also designed this trip to be eligible for an additional scholarship, which is the Gilman Scholarship, and that's for those students that are Pell Grant recipients. I'll go through the process and help anyone that wants to apply go through and apply. Last year I had 2 students apply, and one of the students got a scholarship for $500. And then if you're also looking for other ways, you can use GoFundMe or any sort of crowdsourcing website. It's not a thing that students generally do, but if you go on to GoFundMe and search Study Abroad, you'll see tons of different pages. And most of them, pretty much all of them when I look, have money, which is incredible that people are getting things funded that way. So those are definitely a couple ways that this can happen. The payments happen over a big period of time, so it's not like you make that payment all at once. There's a deposit and then a second deposit and then a final payment, so it all kind of spreads out. But I've also designed this trip to include all the costs inside of it. So every meal is covered, every group activity that we do. The only thing that you would need to have money for were if you wanted souvenirs, if you wanted additional snacks and food as we're out and about, or if there were any sort of things you wanted to do in your free time that cost money. Those are the only things. Most trips don't include food as a part of it, but I have for this one, so while the cost is a bit more in this case for my trip over the other trips, mine is one of the longest at 15 days, and it also includes all the meals, so you're getting quite the bang for your buck. All right, so I'm gonna bring in a student that actually was on the trip last year to help talk about a few other things. This is Pam. Come on in, Pam.
Hello.
Hello. So Pam was on the trip last year. There were 13 students on the trip. She was one of them. She volunteered to help me make the video this year. So she's going to be with me and kind of comment on things where appropriate with her experiences. Thank you for coming, Pam.
You're welcome.
So I'll give a general here. So it was included, like I said, pretty much everything. Airfare, all transportation when we're together, every excursion we do together, the hotel when we're in London, medical insurance, it has to be legally, we have to have that, and it's covered while we're abroad. All your meals and the guide that comes with us. So are there any of these things that you wanted to comment on?
Yeah, definitely the transportation that we took. It was amazing. Everything was very organized, and it was an experience that, like, once in a lifetime. Like, it was amazing. The hotel accommodations, it was an experience. I would suggest everyone to go with an open mind, because of course always mistakes happen, so it's not like everything will be perfect, but that's part of the experience, and that's part of what made it like amazing.
So yeah, our trip, we had a hotel problem, which was the tour company's fault, but we're using a different tour company next year, so I do not expect to have that problem. But it is good to note that in the hotel and in the homestays, which we'll talk about in a minute, you will be sharing with one, maybe two other people. I suppose it could be up to three other people, but most likely you'll just be in groups of two or three in the hotels and homestays. So, what was it like having to share with someone that you kind of didn't really know?
It was at first it was a little weird, but actually we bonded so well together because we were together basically the whole trip after that with the hotels. It was really really fun having to share with it and meeting like lots of people from different backgrounds, and it was amazing.
Yeah, there was an opportunity for people to tell me if they wanted to room with anyone, and you chose to room with Nixa the whole time. But there were times that
Yes.
someone else was with you guys, so there still was a mixture. Yeah, but for the most part, it'll probably switch up unless you kind of know once you start to meet each other who you might want to room with. All right,
Definitely.
so let's. Anything else here? Or are we good to keep going?
We're good.
Good. Okay. So homestays. This one I know you'll have a lot to talk about. While we are abroad, we'll be staying in homestays in Edinburgh, Scotland, and man, I didn't even change on this one. We're going to Oxford, England, not Kent, England. Kent was last year. I apologize. So we will be staying in homestays in those two locations. The families that do this on a regular basis, so it's not uncommon for them to have people in their house. I have hosted students, and for me it is uncommon, and so I kind of go all out if I have a student. But the families that do this kind of do it as a part-time job. So they have rooms that are ready for multiple students to stay in. You will be sharing a room, again, with other students, possibly one, maybe two more. It just depends. But this isn't any different than what would happen in a hotel. Some people are kind of nervous about homestays. But the good sides are that you get personal firsthand experience with locals, you get home-cooked meals, and then we're in Scotland, you'll get a full day with the family. So what would you like to say about homestays?
So at first, I was really nervous about the homestays because I basically never traveled abroad before, and not even like by my own, like without my family. So I was like really scared to be like living in somebody else's house, which I've never done before. But once I got there, like the family was very welcoming. They were really like talkative with us, and they really like I learned so much with them. Like I asked like 100 questions, like hey, and this and this and this, and they were like really kind and everything. But I'll say just keep in mind that not all families are the same. Some people like got different kinds of family. Sometimes they have a kid or something. Like our family didn't have
Sure.
any. Like they just have dogs. So I'll say just keep that in mind, and it's definitely a perfect experience to live like a local.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we definitely they pick the families, and we can decide how many people and kind of who's going to go where. But we don't know much about the families outside of that. So, yeah, some families have little kids,
Yeah.
and some the family you stayed with in Scotland was just an older couple. So
Yeah.
that's a very different
Mhm.
experience that you had than some others had. And if there are any issues with pets or anything, we take all those allergies and whatnot into account. Families know about all those things. We make sure to place students according to those things. But yes, your experience with homestays, even
Was
though we're all on the
perfect.
same trip, everyone will have a very
Yeah.
different experience because you're all with different families. But it's all unique, and that's more realistic to what it would be like to stay with families. Do you want to say anything about the meals?
Yes, I was about to comment on
Okay.
that. The meals in each house it vary. Like from the one in England, it was really like kind of like fast food, like eh. And then the one in Scotland, they were like really, really organized and really kind of fancy, and they like prepare like this awesome like table with all the kind of stuff. So it was all interesting to try all those different foods.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the same goes with the meals. There are some families that students showed up and said, I really want to try haggis. And the family went all out and made
Yeah.
haggis for them. And some where it was like, here's your meal. You know, I'm giving you pasta tonight, this tomorrow. You know, maybe you could give some input, but it definitely varied. But the meals, a unique experience that you wouldn't get without homestays.
Yeah, and they are like our family ask us like, is it okay if I make you this, if I make you that, which was one of my top concerns because I'm not that picky, but sometimes I
Yeah.
was scared about that, and it was not bad at all.
Right.
Yeah.
And the way we're able to include meals is that meals for the entire trip, dinners is certainly one thing, but even lunch, sometimes the family will be packing you a lunch. And again, those were all over the place. Some people were getting
Yeah.
the same peanut butter and jelly type sandwich every day. Some were getting a ham sandwich. Some were getting a lot. Some were getting a little. It just varies. So
Mhm.
that's one reason you might want to have a little bit of cash cash on hand in case what they give you is not something that you really like.
Yeah.
But you can speak up. They're people, and they do this as a part-time job. They want to make sure you're having a good experience.
Yeah, and people, they are very friendly over there in England, and especially in Scotland. So I don't think you'll have a problem with that.
All right, so that's homestays. So let's take a look at our schedule. We'll have some pre-departure meetings. Our trip will have 6 of them between March and May. One of them will be at Universal Studios. We're going to Universal Studios for free, and then we'll participate in the Views program. But we're doing this so that we can compare the Harry Potter stuff at Universal to the Harry Potter studio tour in London. So that's one of the things that we'll be doing. You can see on the slide a picture of the tour. I think this was definitely one of your highlights for the trip.
Definitely.
Yes, I definitely market it as a Harry Potter trip, but not everyone cares about Harry Potter, which is fine. Everyone went to the tour, but some people were just there to kind of see the studio itself, and then we're done a lot quicker. But what were your experiences with the Harry Potter studio tour?
Well, I'm a really huge Harry Potter fan. So when I saw this on the schedule, I was like, I need to go. And it was really magical. Like she said, even though there were some people that were not that fun, they still enjoy because it's really awesome to see. Like,
Don't give it away.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
I know there are a couple kind of surprises along the way, and I have personally been there before this trip, but I still cried. I'm a big Harry Potter fan too. I know you cried. We had one other person cry, but some people did not. It's just a studio tour, and that's all there is to it. But it is a studio. It was the studio that they recorded at. So this isn't like the theme park that there are rides. These are sets, props, wigs, all sorts of things like that, and with information along the way, right? The actual stuff that was in the movies, yeah. But no rides. So a couple little fun kind of things to play with, but definitely different than Universal, and there's ways that we'll compare it. Is there anything else from the agenda that you can see right now that you wanted to comment on?
Yeah, besides Harry Potter, I loved how in the schedule there's like a few castles that you guys are gonna visit, and that's basically like one of I love castles, and so of course I love Harry Potter, so that's like it was perfect. Yes. And the castles, they're like so big, so you wanna like make sure you bring some comfortable shoes to walk around all those castles.
Yes, for the whole trip, there is a lot of walking. That's definitely something we talk about before we leave, but yes, the entire thing will involve a lot of walking. So yeah, we'll have a tartan weaving mill tour. We saw a picture of that earlier. A couple rugby stadiums, a cruise on the Loch Katrine. I had no idea what to expect, but that was beautiful.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Incredible.
Oh yes.
We'll do 3 pub lunches. This will be, like I said, it's already included as part of the cost of the trip. But this is to kind of compare and contrast what the pubs are like in the 3 different locations that we're going to. Pub to us sounds like it's a bar, but pub to them it means public house. So this is so often it has a very homey feel. But yeah, we had some very unique pub experiences, I would say.
Yeah, it all varies in like the 3 different locations, and it's just very, very different in its own way. Some were like amazing food, some were like so-so, but it's part of the experience.
yeah, even if it's bad food, it's part of it. Some cathedrals, and so that's one chunk of our trip. The other schedule overview, and this isn't everything. I do have more of this available if you want to email me. But these are a few more things that we're going to see. Stonehenge, it's not something we got to see on our trip, but we will get to see Stonehenge, kind of cool. Camden Market, we did go to.
Yes, we did.
You have thoughts on Camden Market, I know that.
Yes, it was very unique. In London, there was a lot of diversity, and you could really see it in the Camden Market. I really, really love the different types of people and the different kinds of shops, and how like the locals live around, and it was very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Camden Market is an old horse stables that's kind of expanded. It's multi-level, but each of those stables is now turned into like a specialty shop. Nothing with doors. It's very kind of boho feeling. It's a safe space. There's a lot of food trucks kind of looking things. A lot of unique stuff. A lot of strange. There was one shop that was just all NBA jerseys from the 90s. Like that's the kind of, but it's very small. And then there's another small thing, and another small thing, and lots of strange, unique I love
Very
Camden Market.
strange.
It's
Yeah.
very cool.
Very
Yeah.
different from the normal market that you will
Yeah.
think about. I never thought it would be something like that. And I'll say that most of the stuff it's like handmade. So they
Yeah.
it's very unique and part of the experience of getting that London feel and how the culture is.
Yeah. We'll also go on the Camden Lock, which is right by the Camden Market. That's kind of where it'll start. We'll see the Shakespeare Globe Theater, changing of the guards, a scavenger hunt in Hyde Park. You'll see kind of how that will manifest when we talk about the math part. And then when the trip is done, we'll have a couple post-trip meetings to wrap things up. Because remember, all of this is taking place centered around a math course. So before we talk about what the math actually looks like, are there any other pieces that you wanted to comment on the trip?
Yeah, well, of all the experience that I got, it was the best trip of my life. You really have to go with an open mind because you will see like people from very different backgrounds, and you will even meet people over there. I met a very kind lady from she was from the United States too, and she was very kind. We like took photos and all that, like meet a lot of people, and also the open mind of the students, because not all of them will experience the same excitement.
People travel differently, and
Yeah.
Pam and I are very bubbly and enthusiastic, but that's definitely not everyone that goes on the trip. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you are spending 2 full weeks with people that you don't really know
Yeah.
too much about, or you don't have as much of a vibe for. We will spend time together at
Mhm.
Universal, so get to know each other a little there. But that you definitely just have an open mind, and anyone that's going, it's all just probably 10 different people going on a trip together.
Yeah,
Anything else you wanted to comment on?
I'll say just don't think about it anymore. Just do it. Yeah.
All right, a couple more questions for you. Did you think this was interesting to do math in this way?
Definitely. I really love math normally, but I'll say that really made it even better when I took this course. And even the people that don't like math, it's a very perfect way to just experience math
This is
and
a unique
traveling at the
course.
same time. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very unique. Very unique.
Yeah. Okay. Had you traveled out of the country before this trip?
No, only from my hometown, Puerto Rico. That's pretty much it. It's yeah.
Yeah, and,
It's
and
the
honestly,
first time.
that's the truth for most students that
Yeah.
study abroad.
Mhm.
Most have not traveled out of the country. Most are getting their passport for the first time.
Yeah, like
Yes, yes. Would you do it again?
I will definitely do it again.
Yeah.
Like
Good,
100
good.
times.
And is there anything you wish you knew before going on the trip, or that I guess, wish you would have known prior to leaving?
With all the information that you gave to us, it was enough for me to just know like the important stuff and really know I good like it is because that made me like surprised. It was a surprise for me. And, it was a unique experience not knowing much more about.
Yeah, I think I think your point on keeping an open mind is a really good one. It's 2 full weeks, and while people definitely glorify study abroad, it's 2 full weeks. You will never have 2 full weeks of your life go by without any sort of little mishaps happening. And sometimes things just feel bigger because you want all of this to be so perfect. But stuff will happen, and it'll all be fine. It's all part of the journey.
That's what makes it perfect.
Yeah, and fun and unique.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us, Pam. I think your perspective has been very helpful.
Thank you.
All right, a couple more things to discuss. So how is this math? The class, like I said, is college mathematics. It consists of these 5 units. So when we do sets, this is for the visual, it's Venn diagrams where the circles and things overlap. So we'll compare our pub experiences, the stadiums, the castle, the boat tours, and Harry Potter experiences. For statistics, we'll collect information from the host families, like how many internet devices do you have in your house. Each student will do that, and then we'll use that data to run simple statistical analysis, like mean, median, mode, mid-range, stuff like that. We'll do that with a number of children, and we have a couple grocery store visits that will use data to do some statistical analysis. For geometry, again, it's I like to say with this class, you can imagine that you're getting in knee-deep into 5 different pools. That's it. Many courses feel like a full deep dive. This is just 5 totally different topics. So for geometry, we'll find the area of our dinner plates at home and compare them to the area of the dinner plates of the families we stay with, or maybe we'll do kitchen tables. I haven't quite decided. We'll do volume of showers or fridges and compare from ours to each of the host families. and then a scavenger hunt in the castle and or the park. So we'll find different, basic geometry type items inside those places. And then for probability, hard to introduce this without seeing the lessons. You'll see them, that's part of what the course will involve. But we'll use probability to look at how many different ways we could have ordered our meals at each of the locations, each of the pubs, and see if we're surprised by this based on where the pubs are located. So that's how it's math. These are just a few more of the places that we'll see. Again, Big Ben, the Edinburgh Castle, which, if you're a Harry Potter fan, is the castle J.K. Rowling stared out the window at from the Elephant Cafe and wrote the first book from. So hopefully that's something we can go and see again. The gardens at Blenheim Park, Buckingham Palace with the changing of the guards, the Loch Katrine, the Harry Potter studio tour, and the Camden Lock Market. This isn't everything. Again, if you want to see the current itinerary, you can just email me. I have that information. Things can always change. Sometimes things get booked, sometimes things close down, so it's not set in stone, but it's pretty much showing you everything that we're going to do. The days just might swap around a little bit. So if you feel like now you're interested in doing the class and going on the trip with us, you can apply online and then pay the $250 deposit at the business office. That $250 is a part of the whole cost. It's just to lock your spot in. Your spot is not officially locked until you've paid that deposit. You can apply at the website right there, or just email me and I can send you that. The deadline to apply is December 7th, and then the deadline to pay the deposit is December 14th. And again, I have all of the information like the itinerary and the packet, which shows you all the different math that you're going to be doing while we're abroad and while you're home to kind of finish everything up. So feel free to email me and ask some more questions. I hope this has interested you, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you so much.